Welcome to Back to the Bible. Today's topic, Abraham, the man who wanted a child. Abraham wanted a child more than anything else in the world. Year after year, he had waited for the baby God had promised. And now both he and his wife were very old. He didn't want a child just because he needed an heir, although he was very rich. He didn't ask for a child just because he wanted someone to love and nurture, although he evidently loved children. He wanted a child because of a promise God had made. You will be the one through whom the promised one will come, God had told him. Now Abraham was very discouraged. If he had no child, it would mean that God had failed him. If he had no child, there would be no hope for salvation. God's power and honor were at stake. Early one morning, while the skies were still dark, God came to him in a vision, and Abraham asked him, "What are you going to do for me, since I am childless?" In reply, God led him under the glorious sky. "Do you see those stars?" he asked. "Can you count them?" "I can, because I ordained them, just as I have ordained your seed and your descendants." Then and there, Abraham believed. But the Lord would go a step further. He would make this promise burn in Abraham's mind for years to come. He would confirm it through a spectacular sign. In those days, people confirmed an agreement or a covenant using a ceremonial sacrifice. After cutting sacrificial animals in two, the person or persons making the promises would walk between the sacrifices. On God's instructions, Abraham prepared such a sacrifice. After the sun went down and Abraham had fallen into deep sleep, to his amazement, he saw what he described as a smoking furnace and a burning lamp passing between the sacrifices. God himself was moving between them, declaring that his promises were sure. Abraham and Sarah would have a child, and in God's appointed time, the promised baby would be born. The following words are taken from Foretold and Manifested by John M. Neal. He is here, whom seers in old time chanted of while ages ran, whom the writings of the prophets promised since the world began, then foretold, now manifested, to receive the praise of man, evermore and evermore. Verse for today. And if you are Christ, then you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Galatians chapter 3, verse 29. Additional reading, Genesis chapter 15. Your step for today. Ask yourself, if God makes a promise, do I believe and act on it? Select one of his promises. Write down what your reaction to it should be. Examine what your reaction to it really is. Prayer for today. Pray for help in believing this specific promise of God. God bless you.